It is literally non-stop rain. Yesterday was the first nice day we had in a long time, and we were all at work. So I guess we'll be heading into the house for a little project. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Northern Home Garage. As you saw outside, it's raining, so we can't really be doing anything outside. I had some plans on pulling out the boat maybe today and, you know, just getting stuff ready for the winter, but again, Mother Nature intervenes and makes that not possible. So what I decided to do today is I'm going to show you how I make t-shirts with a simple little machine called a Cricut. I'll show you guys that in a second. So I have a picture that a friend of ours sent me, and she'd like a t-shirt made for one of her friends. So I'm going to show you the picture, and we'll see what we can come up with in the software. Actually, before we jump onto the computer to show you, in case some of you are unfamiliar with what a Cricut is, this is it. It's a consumer level crafting tool. It cuts vinyl, it cuts paper, cardstock. With the proper bits, it can even cut wood. My wife bought this 2 or 3 years, I think 2 years ago now. And I've since taken it over once I found out how cool it is and all the stuff that you can do with it. I've made snow machine decals for people, window stickers. I've made t-shirts with the heat transfer vinyl, which is what we're going to be doing today. It's pretty simple. The unit's got cutters that are removable with little blades. You've got different attachments that you can put into it, scoring blades. You can get heavy-duty knives, all kinds of cool stuff. All you do is you set, actually we'll show you this when we get there, but you just set your dial to whatever you're actually cutting, paper, normal vinyl, iron-on transfer, and your material sits on this mat, which you push through the machine, and these cutters go to work. So now let's go take a look at the software. Alright, so here we go. So I have my Cricut folder open. This is where we keep most of our logos and our images that we've imported into the software. We've cut vinyl. You may have seen me wearing this t-shirt right here with this image. That's a t-shirt that I created. This image I found online, cut it out in Photoshop, made it for myself, very happy with it. Lots of vinyl on that guy for sure. Alright, so we will just carry on. Now the t-shirt she wants me to make is right here. So I've never dreamed I'd grow up to be a super sexy pontoon captain, but here I am killing it. So it's a funny t-shirt. She has a neighbor at camp that owns a pontoon boat, and he's a real cool guy. She wants to do something really nice for him, and I'm more than happy to help. And this is pretty complex. There's a lot of different colors and some really skinny lines in this one. I'm going to assume a t-shirt like this is probably printed with the screening method. That's something we can't do. So when you're doing heat transfer vinyl, you have to be really careful and mindful of all these smaller sections, because what you're going to see later is I have to tweeze. What they call tweezing is remove all the vinyl where I don't want it on these sections here, and it becomes a little difficult, but I don't know, I'm sure we can come up with something really cool, something close to this. I'm going to see if I can find maybe a small pontoon boat online, some kind of free graphic that I could find. And we might do 2 colors. I don't think I have any orange, and I know I don't have red. I do have blue and white and black. But we're going to see what I have available. So yeah, so let's get out of this guy here. All right, and we'll head over to, let's head over to our software. So I'm using version 5.12.84. Every time you launch the software, it does check for updates. All right, this is what we call the design space. These are all previous projects that I worked on. Right here, these are my projects. So we're going to go to the main canvas. For those of you who are familiar with the software, cool. So we're just going to hop out of there for a second. We're going to open our Photoshop. All right, Photoshop's open, so we're going to, let's go find that picture. Now, owning a Cricut and having Photoshop skills is a pretty big advantage. So this would be pretty simple. I just want to cut it out quickly like so, and I'm just going to crop it so that I just have that section there. I'm going to try the background magic eraser. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure how clean it's going to be, but yeah, it's not horrible. Okay, so this will be perfect to import into the software now, and it's going to just give me a really good baseline as to what I need to create. Instead of flipping back and forth from picture to actual, from the picture to the canvas back and forth, I don't have dual screen here, so it's kind of, so I'm just going to save it as a PNG, which is a transparent picture. I'm just going to call it, let's call it pontoon. I'll be saving that in my Cricut folder. All right, it's all good. Now let's just minimize that guy. All right, so we're going to cancel this one. Let's go ahead and upload another image. Should be there now. Well, that's because I called it Potoon instead of Pontoon. All right, my bad. All right, we're just going to import it as a simple image. Bring it in. Is there anything I need to clean up a little bit? Where we live, the internet's very slow. Here's all my other designs. You can see me, I was working on creating the t-shirt you saw me wearing at the beginning. All right, so here it is here. Let's insert that image into our canvas. Oh, there it is. All right, cool. All right, so that gives me a very basic idea of what I'm actually looking for. Now I'm going to create it all by writing it out. Now we're going to go find a pontoon boat picture on the net, so I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I found a really cool picture online. I'm just going to throw it into Photoshop real quick to make sure that it's actually clean enough. Looked like a really nice picture. Nice and simple, going to be easy to print. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Oops, I think the edges are clean enough. Format is nice. Yeah, I think that's great to import into the software. So let's get that brought into the software. We're going to upload a picture here. All right, upload image. This one should go a little quicker. There she is. All right, we're going to do it simple. There's nothing to actually clean up on it. I'm going to keep this little fin on the back too. I think it's really cute. This one we're going to do, we're going to save it as a cut image. Normally I save as a print and cut just so I get a cleaner image. You know what, I'm going to do that. And then I can always change it to cut later. So we're going to save it like that. And then we're going to highlight it, and we're going to bring that into our canvas. All right, so you can see up here we have the inches. So we have 0 to, I believe my sheets are 12 inches wide. So what we do usually is we measure the shirt from here to here. Now I've already gone ahead and measured the shirt, so I know how big these have to be. But you know what? Why don't I show you? Alright guys, so here's the shirt our friend gave us. Normally the designs will start somewhere just above the cut or in the center of the arms. So we're going to take our measurement up here, and we want to leave a nice little buffer on each side so we can see. So we'll have, let's say, 12 inches that way. And then we want to safely be able to see, what do we got here? We start about there. I'd say probably 14 inches would bring us to almost 2/3 the way down the shirt. I think that's going to be great. So we're going to be using 12 by 14. Okay, so here we are back in our canvas, back in our design studio. I do have the pontoon boat here. And like we just saw with the t-shirt, I have 12 inches by 14 inches long to work with. So we're going to start off by adding our text. I'm going to try and keep it exactly like the format is here. I like the format, and I'm sure our friend liked the format too. So you'll notice I've already picked the font. And that's just to, and the program just froze. All right, there we go. All right, you notice I already picked the font. The font is pretty easy. If you click on it and you go here, these are all the system fonts. You see this up here, system, or you can go to Cricut fonts, but these are all pay for fonts. See, it gives you the pricing over on the side here. So this particular font is $4.99. This one here, not sure, there's no price in that one. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, that's a pretty neat font too. Yeah, so you can change them up here. You can choose, like I said, the ones from Cricut or your system. Now systems are the ones that you have installed on your PC or your laptop. So a bunch of these are fonts that I've already installed from 123font.com. I can put the link down below in the description for you guys, if I remember, I hope. So I'm just running through these fonts, trying to find something really cool like that one. Yeah, that's pretty neat. I kind of like that one. Alright, so we'll see how that works out. So we know I have 12 inches wide to work with. So over here, this is starting at 0 all the way to 12. So I can go ahead and increase the size. Always remembering I need edges. You can't print, or the unit can't cut the vinyl from side to side. Like tight to the edge from tight to the edge. So I'll get that up there. Alright, I'll start another line. There we go. I'd grow up to be a. Let's see. I'd grow up to be a. Now the nice thing about the software, if I click on this guy up here, it'll tell me the total width. So if I look here, it's 11.095. So I can round that off to 11. And the little lock icon will constrain the proportions to the width of the height. And now I'm going to do the same thing with this one here. I'm going to click on it. I want it the full 11 inches because these are, if you notice on the picture here, they're all even. So I want those the full 11 inches. And then we can worry about alignment afterwards. That's no problem there. So what we got now, we got super sexy. All right, so let's get that in there. Super sexy. Let's get that guy up there, and it's fairly large. Super sexy. Now it's got some cool little lines on the sides. So I'm just lining it up just haphazardly, I guess you could say. Now we're going to create these lines with the with the shapes in here. Pretty simple. I'm just going to use a square, and with the square I'm just going to create some lines. So I'm going to unlock the constraint. See, right now it doesn't matter which way I move it, it always stays a square. By unlocking the constraint, now I can actually move it into any lines that I actually want. So we'll get a little line that looks like it fits proper. Maybe a little skinnier. Always keeping in mind I'm going to have to cut these out in vinyl, so they're going to have to be the proper size. Alright, that's not bad. So I'm just going to right click, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste. That'd be line number 2, and like I said, we'll worry about alignment afterwards. I'm going to paste another one. There we go. Let's do that. Alright. Then we're going to select all 3. And we're going to copy and Control V to paste. Slide that over here. Pretty simple. I got this really cool little pontoon boat. It's fairly large. Now I'm looking at my size on the side. I'm up to about 3.5 inches here, which isn't too bad. So I can afford to make this pontoon boat pretty large, because I have up to 14 inches to get down at the bottom here, so I'm sure I got lots of writing. Let's see, 14 inches. Alright, and to change the view of my canvas right here, we're just going to hit this little minus button right here. Kind of zooms you out. There we go. Get a better idea. That's looking pretty cute so far, and we're well within our 12 inches. And we're going to have to, we want to be at our 14-inch mark here. I'm just going to cheat a little bit here. I'm just going to grab that top one. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it. And I'm just going to drag it down. Just see, why is that stuck in there? Alright, well, that was weird. Always overcoming little, oops, you always have to overcome little problems when you're working with these. There's nothing you can't get around eventually, but easy to edit the text. I'm just going to double click, and the little pop-up box should come up. There we go, right down here. And I'm going to change that to my next line, pontoon captain. I kind of like pontoon boat captain better. Let's see what that looks like. Pontoon captain. I don't know. Again, we're going to click on it. We know we need 11 inches wide. Up here, 11 inches. Just to stay at the same width as up on top. Should be able to drag this down. Got to stay within our 14 inches here, right guys? So, right, so now I'm just going to, paste again. Let's see if I don't, that was easier that time. Double click. And I'm going to write, but here, all right, I'm going to stop talking here, and we're just going to rush through the rest of this. So if there is something important that I have to explain, I'll do so. What I'm going to show you guys here, if you noticed in the video, I was using the align feature up on top here, and all that does, it gives it proper spacing and alignment. What I'm going to do now is, instead of going and aligning each one like I was, to make this task a little simpler, if I highlight all 3 of these, I can come up here and I can click, if you notice on the workflow chart here, you'll notice I can click group, So if I click on group, what it does now, it groups them together. You see now they're stuck together, so I'm not stuck picking one at a time. Now the nice thing about this is now that I know this one's perfectly spaced, perfectly aligned side to side, I can highlight these guys, delete them, and I accidentally deleted my boat. So let's try that again. Don't go down too far. There we go. Delete that guy. And what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this group. Let's see here. I don't know what's going on. Select the group, copy, paste. And we'll drag that guy over here. And that's it. We'll do another paste. And we're going to be using that one down here. Again, we'll be selecting this group, deleting it, bringing in this group, and we'll be doing the same thing here, selecting this group, delete those, and we'll paste in, of course it pastes all the way through, and we'll paste in another group down here. And then to align these nice and center, we're just going to highlight the whole line, come back up here, align, and we want to center them vertically. And what that just did, it centered all of these guys perfectly. And we're going to do the same thing with our top group here. And we're going to align and center vertically. So I think that's looking pretty good, guys. I don't know about you. I think that would be a pretty sexy shirt. Not really sure, so we're going to make sure that all these are cut. So that is line type set to cut. Set to cut. Another one here, cut. All my writing as well should all be set to cut, no fill. There we go, no fill on that guy, so we just changed it from a cut and print to a cut no fill. Nice and simple. The nice thing about the this workflow as well is I can actually change up the colors. So say I wanted to print the boat in blue, I could see what it looks like in blue. And or if I was working on a black t-shirt, it's very simple. I just grab my writing or whatever I wanted. In this case here, we'll just grab the whole thing. If I had wanted to turn them white, it would be a very simple thing. Turn it white. If I was printing on a black t-shirt, I come over here, you see my canvas where it says canvas. My canvas currently is white. Click on that, the color is up here, and I'm going to change the color of my canvas to white. So this would imitate the shirt itself. I could actually import a template to put it onto a shirt to actually view it, but I've done enough of these now. I think I'm getting pretty good at them. I know I'm within my 12 inches and my 14. Got lots of room there. The shirt we're using is actually a gray color. So it's very easy to click on the canvas. Change it to, it's kind of a semi-gray. It's probably closer to this. Now I think I'm going to do the writing in white. That's really cool. And I don't know what color. I have yellow. I don't know if that'd be cool or not. I do have yellow. I have black as well, I believe. Let's see what the black looks like. You know what? I kind of like it all probably in white. Just working with what I actually have in stock. All right, that's really neat. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of this guy. We don't need him anymore. Hit the delete button. Now here's the real downer about this program. I've complained about, I've even written, I've written to them talking about this, is the actual flow chart for the cutting. It drives me crazy. If you see how nicely set up I have it here, so when you go to the make it button, you would expect that this is how it would come up on your flow chart or on your cutting chart. So here, well, let's go over there. I'll show you what I mean. So this is what happens. So this picture back here, this is going to simulate the actual the mat that I'm going to be using to put the vinyl on, but look what it does right off. Doesn't keep it in the same format that you actually have, so it drives me absolutely bonkers. I think this is a big flaw in the program, and it's actually disgusting, because what it makes you do, if I click cancel here, what it actually makes you do is I would have to highlight the whole thing and then click the attach button down here. So now what that's going to do, I can carry that. It attaches all of these together, and I go to make it, and now it keeps it in the same format. This gets very difficult when you're trying to cut print and then cut outlines. It's just, it's horrid. It really makes it hard to keep your sanity, actually. I'm just going to come back. I'm going to show you guys what ends up happening is so I'm going to detach the group so I can change the color of the pontoon boat. And you guys are probably wondering, well, how does it cut out vinyl if it's two different colors? Well, this is pretty neat. Let's say I wanted the pontoon boat red. Oh, that's actually really cool. I've got some glitter red that might rock. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5 by 9. You know what? I might do that. That looks really cool. Anyway, so now if we click on, so again, we're going to group everything, attach it. See, and now it just turned everything red on me. That's not what I wanted to do. And all that turned everything red by attachment. Like, it drives me crazy. So if I actually click make it right now, all my writing would be like this. That would be my first cut, and then I would have to change my material, and then my second cut would be the pontoon boat. But why is my writing not spaced out the way I want it? Because the program's flawed. So I guess what I'd end up having to do would be highlight these guys, attach them, highlight these guys, attach them, and then select both attached sections. And so if we look here, we got attached group 1, and then I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to hold down my control button, click attached group 2, and that should attach the two groups. Attach them again. Now when I click on make it, I have all the proper spacing, which works fine. Now, I wouldn't necessarily need to do this. These two could be top and bottom, and I'll show you why. Because I'm more likely going to be putting these on the t-shirt in separate pieces regardless. So this is really not necessary to do this unless I was printing it all in one color, but I really think I'm going to do that in red. Yeah, that is pretty cool. I'm going to cancel that, go back. I'm going to detach those two sections. Now watch what happens. I just detached those two sections, so it's not going to keep the same format that I have on my screen now. Yeah, see, it actually put them in reverse, which is fine the way it's going to cut them. I'd be okay with that. I should be able to move them. Yeah, there you go. So if you actually thought you were losing your mind because they're upside down, you're not. The software just does that. So now this is a really good way to save on your vinyl too, because if I look at it here now, I know I got to cut my vinyl probably to 7.5 inches. You know, or if it was here, then I'd be cutting here, big empty space there, cutting there. Maybe that's the whole point of what they're trying to do with the software. But you know what, designers at Cricut, if you're watching this, the cutter is great. The software, just fix your software. That would be fantastic. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. I'm just going to hop over there and see if I got some red for a second. I'll be right back. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get started with this. I'm going to pull out my vinyl. Now normally I would print these on paper first and kind of stagger them out across the t-shirt just to check the fit. I'm not going to do that with these guys. I'm just going to cut the boat out on a piece of paper just quick, just for the sizing. And I know that I have, oh, you know what, I'm not even going to do any sizing. I'm so confident in this one, we're just going to go ahead and do it. So why don't we go cut, we'll go pull out my heat transfer vinyl, my white heat transfer vinyl. I'll show you guys how I cut it, and we're going to stick it to the mat. We only need our small mat today because I noticed it's only 8 inches, so we don't need the long one. So I'm going to go pull out that mat and then we'll get cutting. And she's ready. Alright guys, so here we are. I've cut my vinyl. This is the white and this is the yellow. So we needed approximately 6 inches for the boat to be cut out, and then approximately 7.5 inches cut out for the writing. I used my Cricut cutter to cut the vinyl. Very simple. Place it in, boom, score it, it's cut. I cut it out of these 2 rolls. This is a heat transfer, HTV heat transfer vinyl. This one I just bought off Amazon, so this is going to be the first time we use it. We'll give it a shot and see what happens. Had good reviews. Alright, so now that we have these, we're going to move on to placing them on the mats. Alright, so you can purchase a bunch of different mats for the Cricut. And if you look up here, it's going to tell you what kind of mat it is. You have strong and you have light grips. And what they are is they're just really sticky, so that your material sticks to them. So they have these coverings. Now for the HTV, the heat transfer vinyl, I always use the strong mat because I find that these are very slippery, and the vinyl has a tendency not to stick to it very well, but it sticks really well to this guy. So we're placing our vinyl, okay, we're placing our vinyl upside down, like so. You know what? I'm going to put it on the correct side. Placing it face down. And we're just going to smooth it out. Making sure there's no bumps or debris in back. Alright, because the way the machine's going to cut this, it's going to cut it mirrored, so in reverse. So that when we flip it over, when we pull the material off that we're not using, when we flip it over, we're going to have a clear front that we can flip it over and all of our writing is going to be aligned. So you'll see that in 1 second. So I'm going to go ahead right now and I'm going to go click the start print on the computer. Alright, so we want to start our printing. So we're going to go ahead. I have my 7" and something. So I'm going to continue. And it's just going to search for the machine for a second. So now it's asking me to set my base material, and if you look right now, it is set to iron on. I'm going to give it the thick iron on, so I'm just going to move it up 1 setting, so iron on plus, if you look up there. And because it is actual HTV vinyl, we're going to have to mirror it. So it's going to have to be cut mirrored. Click on edit, mirror. It's going to cut it backwards and you'll see why in a second. I made a mistake the first time and I didn't do it, so now we're going to do the same thing with the second image it's going to print. We're going to mirror that guy. Yeah, that one's done as well. Alright, so back to our first one. And we are ready to go. So now we come back to the machine. I have my white vinyl already pressed down. Alright, and we're going to load it into the machine. Alright, we're going to load it into the machine. Press the load button. Alright, so now I'm going to make sure that I have room in behind because the mat is what travels back and forth. And here we go, we're going to start the cut. Very simple, just pressing a button. Alright, so our writing is done. So we're going to eject. I'm going to carefully pull it off of my strong grip mat. Now you don't use a strong grip mat for anything else other than vinyl or wood, or I mean I've had, can't use it on paper or cardboard because you can't get it off. It just destroys it. So just going to pull this off, nice and careful. Alright, just going to set that aside for a second, and then we're just going to put our yellow on there because now it's asking for our second cut. Our second item, so we're going to lay our yellow down. Now we're already ready to go on the computer. It knows it's coming. We already clicked on the mirror. Load that. Now this one's going to cut super fast. Not much involved in this guy. And that's it for the boat. So we're going to eject it, and now we're ready to do what's called tweezing. Is we were going to remove all the excess material that we don't need. So as opposed to vinyl where you take out the insides because you need the vinyl, this is HTV. This is the heat transfer vinyl, and we're going to be using the inside, so we need to just remove the outside. But before we do that, I'm going to just cut out, oh, you know what, there's not a whole lot of waste here. Normally what you want to do is you don't want a whole lot of waste. So if I had a big section here that wasn't cut, I'd want to maybe keep this little strip, but we're doing pretty good. So let's just get this stuff moved around, and I'll show you the tweezing. So what we have is a tool like this, also from Cricut. It's very sharp, and this is going to help us. It's going to help us lift the vinyl that we're not going to be using. Very easy. Over, you're going to grab a spot in the middle. It's important to remember which sections you're not using and which sections you are. If you look, I just pulled that off, and that's what's called tweezing. Now we're going to start in the corner on the far side here. There is going to be quite a bit of the material wasted here, but and then what you see staying on the back, you see that. You see this staying there, and that's the backing. That's a see-through backing, and this is why we printed it in reverse, is because this is what's going to stick down to the t-shirt to help us align it. And if the Cricut did a good job at cutting, you're going to notice it's going to start to peel. Put that back down. Alright, so there we have our boat. And you're saying, well, it's not looking like a boat. Well, once we peel this off, what we're going to do with this now is we're going to trim it out, and then this adhesive side is going to help us actually. Okay, sorry, I wasn't in frame, guys. Sorry, geez. So here we go. So what we're going to do now is this is going to be, we're going to trim this out, and all this adhesive here is what's going to help us stick it to the shirt so we can do the actual lining up of the boat. So there's our boat, very nice. Now I always find it easier to do this on the actual mats. It allows you to pull. So the tedious part here is going to be all the inside, so I'm not going to bore you guys with that one. We're going to do a time lapse, so you're not stuck there watching that for 2 hours. Okay, so I've cut up my vinyl. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lay it out. Now when I say I cut the vinyl, is I cut it into the different sections that it needed to be. There's my first one and my second one. Now you see why we cut it in reverse, because this is the sticky side. When it goes down like this, that's what you're going to have. I'm going to go ahead and line these up. We're going to start with this guy right here. And I'll step back, take a look at it, and make any adjustments I think I need to do. There we go. Now we're going to take it over to the press or the iron, whatever you guys have to use, and that'll be it. Alright guys, here's the finished product. As you can see, it's all nice and smooth. I saved you guys the horror of watching me iron it on. Basically I just used a tea towel, the iron over there on the counter, you see over there, and parchment paper, and that's it. That's the end of it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned a little bit about t-shirt making, HTV and the Cricut, and we'll see you next time.